From the Florida Panhandle to Metro Atlanta, Hurricane Michael cut a path of massive destruction. The storm has moved out, but the damage remains. From our Skyfox drone, you can see just how bad it is. Look at this. Crumpled buildings and downed trees in South Georgia.
Mexico Beach, Florida, taking a direct hit from the hurricane, and it suffered unbelievable damage. House after house ripped apart or crumbled into pieces on the ground. Some of them completely blown away. A drone flight through the town shows more of the damage here. Houses crumpled to the ground, debris lining the shore, and damage pretty much to every building.
Yeah, in Panama City, Florida, this is what's left of a gym. Wow. Winds peeled back that entire roof. They knocked out walls and flooded the basketball court. About 30 miles away, Tyndall Air Force Base saw major damage. You can see trailers are flipped over there, roofs ripped off of buildings, and debris scattered everywhere.
Tonight, Michael is still a tropical storm. It hit Florida as a Category 4 hurricane, then moved into Georgia. Tonight, it's bringing rain to the Carolinas and parts of Virginia. Officials blame Michael for at least 5 deaths, 4 in Florida, and an 11-year-old girl in South Georgia.
The National Weather Service says Michael caused at least 1 tornado as it spun through Georgia. President Trump has spoken with our governor. He promises any federal resources needed for recovery efforts. He also plans to visit some of the hardest hit areas early next week. Good evening to you. I'm Sine Simpson.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight, everybody. I'm Tom Haynes. We have live team coverage from the Florida Panhandle to South Georgia and into Metro Atlanta. We'll show you the big impact Michael has left behind. We'll begin with Fox 5's Claire Sims, who joins us live from Southwest Atlanta. And Claire, the National Weather Service just confirmed a tornado touchdown there.
Yeah, we got word in just the last hour that meteorologists with the National Weather Service confirmed that a tornado did hit this area. We are in Southwest Atlanta off of Dill Avenue, and let me show you kind of the damage that's left behind. You can see these giant branches are still here, and you can see the debris that goes all the way across the roadway. And look at this power line. It's really sort of hovering only maybe 5 or 6 feet off the ground, and that tree is most likely, as well as we can tell, the reason why. But you can see utility crews here on the scene as they work to try to restore service to customers in this area. Now take a look at this video from last night. This was right after the height of the storm came through this neighborhood. You can see just the massive trees that fell in this neighborhood, and that we now know is thanks to what we believe was a tornado, at least in this neighborhood. The National Weather Service confirming there was a tornado in this area, but we talked to one man who watched the winds as they whipped around his house.
Well, when I first got home, it was just drizzling a little bit. Then I heard the wind pick up. Then I heard it pick up a lot. I took a look outside. I saw the wind shear going to the right. And then a couple of minutes later, it was going to the left. And I saw a few trash cans flying in the air, and power went out after that.
Back out here live, you can see utility workers continuing their work. It's much the same story all across the state. At one point, Governor Nathan Deal told us earlier today that there were 450,000 people without power. And even here in Metro Atlanta, where we thought for the most part we would be sort of insulated from that massive storm. We are live in Southwest Atlanta. Claire Sims, Fox 5 News.
Wow. All right, Claire, thanks. The National Weather Service also looking at whether tornado hit in Crawford County.
Yeah, from our Skyfox drone, you can see a line of damage about 300 yards long. You can see a number of trees are knocked over in some areas. This is not the video here, but a shed is flattened in another area. Fox 5's Doug Evans spent today surveying the damage with our Skyfox drone.
It certainly has the appearance of a tornado. Down this way, trees are snapped off at the top. Here, they're snapped off at mid-trunk. The path is only about 300 yards long, and it certainly did some destruction along the way. I flew Skyfox drone along the path at Flint River Estates Road in Crawford County. You can see the big trees blown over by the high winds. The remnants of Michael came storming through here Wednesday night. Wayne Grenade says he was sitting on his porch watching the storm. Then the wind began to roar, and he saw the forest around him turn violent, with treetops snapped up and flying missile-like at his home.
So we ran in, turned the couch over on top of me and my wife and the dog, and everything just started leaving from here, tearing it up. And Seemed like it lasted 15, 30 minutes, but I knew it wasn't probably but a minute or so.
His house sustained some roof damage. His shed, more like a small barn, was flattened as if a giant had stomped on it. The cleanup has begun. In all, about 7 homes here received minor damage in Crawford County. Lucky, considering the hundreds and hundreds of trees that fell.
Praying. We was praying and hollering. My wife was praying. I was telling her everything was going to be all right. And I told myself I don't think it's going to be.
A lot of scary moments here in Crawford County, but fortunately no one was hurt. In Crawford County, Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
Well, one of the hardest hit areas, southwest Georgia, where Michael crossed the state line, is a Category 3 storm yesterday. Now, this was the scene in Albany as Michael tore through last night. Today, it's all about damage assessment as crews begin clearing the debris and restoring power. This morning, Governor Nathan Deal encouraged residents to remain patient as crews continue those recovery efforts.
Stay in to be able to come back in and be able to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of to protect your home.
Would, knowing what you know now, would you have made the same decision?
For us, for what we've experienced, yes, but listening to my son who had a tree in the middle of his house, no.
Well, take a look at this. This is video from Panama City Beach when Hurricane Michael hit as a Category 4 storm yesterday. You can see the winds peeling off that roof. It just ripped it right off.
Now, people along the Florida Panhandle are only just beginning to get an idea of the full scope of the damage left behind by Hurricane Michael. We have drone video to show you the buildings crushed and ripped apart. Walls caved in. You can see even where roofs are on the ground.
Michael was the 3rd most powerful hurricane ever to strike the U.S. mainland, and the devastation can only be described as massive. Fox 5's Will Nunley joining us now live from Panama City Beach with a closer look at the damage done there. Will?
And Tom, block by block, everywhere we move, east and inland, we just find continued examples of utter devastation. This is what's left of one of the dry docks here at the Treasure Island Marina. It's just shredded. I mean, there were boats that were in the water, so they thought in many cases we're going to get these boats out of the water, get them loose from their moor, put them in the dry dock, only to find that these dry docks were just absolutely destroyed. A lot of these buildings, we were told by a nearby business owner, are meant to withstand a Category 3 hurricane, but they were no match for Michael's fury coming in, of course, at a Category 4. We've been out surveying damage in neighborhoods throughout Panama City Beach and Bay County today. Everywhere we turn, it's another street that's difficult to go down because it's just a mangled mess of power lines, of trees down. There are crews working around the clock at this point trying to get things patched together for neighbors. We caught up with Paula. She was working in her yard today, and we asked her about the decision she made to stay through this incredible storm. What went into the decision to stay?
Stay in to be able to come back in and be able to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of to protect your home.
Would, knowing what you know now, would you have made the same decision?
For us, for what we've experienced, yes, but listening to my son who had a tree in the middle of his house.
What could have turned out if, you know, the path had gone just a little bit more towards this direction for the direct hit. Meanwhile, we're starting to see the first signs of emergency services being restored. There is still a boil water notice, and in fact, many areas don't even have running water or cell service at this time. It's just going to take some additional time and patience. Back to you.
Michael got strong really fast, Will. Thanks for that perspective. The Red Cross is rolling out its relief efforts in Michael's aftermath. Volunteers at the organization's warehouse in Union City spent today loading pallets of supplies into trucks. Among the supplies, first aid kits and cleanup kits with gloves and mops and garbage bags and more. Once packed up, it's all headed to areas hit hardest by the storm.
They're going down to a staging area in the Florida Panhandle, and from there they'll be distributed to where they need to go.
Officials say volunteers at the Union City warehouse packed up supplies for around 2,000 people today. Fox 5 has teamed up with Publix and the American Red Cross for the Care Force relief effort to help victims of Hurricane Michael. You can make a donation at any Metro Atlanta Publix grocery store. All of the donations will go to the American Red Cross in support of hurricane relief efforts.